Welcome back inside our SI.com studios for this week's video mailbag, where we take your questions via email and Twitter using the hashtag Mannix Mailbag. Question number 1, do you give James Harden the MVP over Steph Curry due to the fact that Curry has help? Well, I'd make the argument that Harden has had help for most of this season in the form of Dwight Howard, who is still one of the best centers in all of basketball, and the addition of Trevor Ariza in Houston has made this team overall a better defensive team. But I would still lean towards Steph Curry if for no other reason that his team is on top. Since the late 1980s, the MVP has come from one of the top 2 teams in their respective conferences, and right now Golden State is running away with the top spot in the Western Conference. Couple the fact that Curry's become a better defender, a much better playmaker over the last 2 years, and I think he still is the leading candidate for the award. Harden's right behind him, and I think Harden has a leg up over LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and everybody else. But I still think there's a gap between Harden and Curry for that top spot. Question number 2, assuming the Cavs are healthy, is there any hope for drama in the Eastern Conference playoffs? I love this question. It continues to ignore the fact that Atlanta is leading the Eastern Conference, and Atlanta has shown no signs of slowing up in the last month and a half. Yes, if you get to the playoffs, people wonder if the Hawks' nondescript roster is going to be able to step up and play. But Kyle Korver's not going to forget how to shoot when he gets to the postseason. Jeff Teague is not going to forget how to drive when he gets to the postseason. Al Horford's not going to forget how to be a consistent post player when he gets to the postseason. This Hawks team, which is likely going to have home court advantage in the first round, to me is still the front runner. Not to say Cleveland can't make a push, and the way they've played the last 2 months has got to be scaring everybody in the Eastern Conference. But Atlanta, until they show otherwise, still has to be considered the favorite. Question number 3, if the Celtics make a playoff push as the 8th seed, where does that leave the team on their rebuild? Look, from a front office perspective, Boston would love to get back into the lottery. They get a chance to get a higher pick, more talent, and the front office has been building that way. But I don't think it's necessarily a negative for the Celtics to get into the postseason this year. That is a very young roster that can benefit greatly from postseason experience. So I think Boston, if they get in there, they'll get a nice boost of it going into next year. But speaking of the Celtics, what a job has been done by Brad Stevens up to this point. They trade away Rajon Rondo, they trade away Jeff Green, they lose Jared Sullinger for the season, and this team continues to push towards the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. They're one of the best teams in the East in the month of February, and if you talk to opposing scouts and assistant coaches, they say the team plays hard every single night, that the playbook continues to diversify, and they say that's a credit to Brad Stevens, who has really emerged as one of the better young coaches in the NBA. This team clearly needs an influx of talent to take themselves to the next level, but I don't think losing games and getting into the lottery is necessarily the right solution. Question number 4, watching Russell Westbrook's play this week, how much better can he get? No question, Russell Westbrook has thrust himself into the MVP conversation with the way he's played over the last couple of months. In the absence of Kevin Durant, Russell has stepped up, had more of a leadership role, and been a big factor in this team's push back into the playoff picture. The next step in Russell's development, in my opinion, is twofold. He's obviously going to continue to improve his perimeter shot, become more of a threat from three-point range, and he's also going to start to slow down and get his game under control when he gets into the paint. This guy is like a running back hitting the hole when he gets into the paint. The next phase for him is going to be finding a way to slow his body down, slow his game down, so that when he elevates and gets near the rim, he's got a better chance of laying something soft off the glass and knocking it down. Westbrook may not be the MVP this year, but I believe over the next 4 or 5 years, he has a great chance to win one. That's it for this week's mailbag. As always, hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag Mannix Mailbag, and we'll get to your questions next week.